Welcome to Morning Momentum with Coffey, a podcast that's dedicated to motivating you with inspiring stories through the power of momentum. Each week, business growth leader, international speaker, trainer, coach, and author Betti Coffey sits down with a new industry leader to find out who they are, what they're doing, and how the power of momentum drives them towards success. Because when you've got momentum, stuff gets done, things happen, and you're on top of the world. You can accomplish anything. And that's what this show is all about, creating unstoppable momentum. It's Morning Momentum with Coffey. Take it away, Betti.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Morning Momentum with Coffey podcast. I'm so thrilled to have you on the podcast today because I have a very incredibly special guest. As we all know, when you have momentum in life, you can accomplish anything. Here's a hint, no matter how old you are. Oh yeah. I handpick my guest. They become my guest because I admire their drive. I appreciate their focus and what they have accomplished and their commitment to growth. And what you're going to find out today is it doesn't matter how old you are or how much experience you might have under your belt, you still can have momentum. My guest today is Carly Oniskey. I'm so excited about this. Carly Oniskey. She's 15 years old. She will be the youngest guest on Morning Momentum with Coffey podcast. She's from Flourtown, Pennsylvania. And if y'all don't know where Flourtown is, it's a suburb of Philadelphia. She's got a mom. She's got a dad. She's got a 10-year-old sister named Ella and a dog named Joe. In June this past year, in the midst of COVID, she graduated from grade school. And this has been her first year to go to an all-girl Catholic college prep high school. So she's had a lot of changes this year and a lot of things she couldn't do. And she had to draw upon that momentum in order to move forward at the tender age of 15 years old. Let's see, what are your interests, Carly? I think they're reading, they're movies, crimes, sci-fi, horror types, movies. She loves that kind of stuff. And she loves her friends and hanging out with her friends. Her accomplishments at the ripe old age of 15. You know how when I'm doing a bio for an executive or a leader on this show, I always look down and make sure I've got this right. Well, I'm going to look down at Carly's also because you know why? She's accomplished a lot. Carly has, in the past year, received 2 sportsmanship awards for volleyball and basketball. She has 4 years of all-star awards in basketball. She has 2 spirit and sportsmanship awards. She has a personal scholarship award for 2020. She's an accomplished equestrian. She has 3 regional championship medals in shot put, and she's just getting going. So Carly Oniskey, welcome to the show. It is an honor, privilege, and pleasure to have you on the podcast.
Hi, thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Are you excited?
Very. I am incredibly excited to be here.
And this is your very, very first podcast, right?
First ever. Yep.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. I mean, you have accomplished so much at the ripe old age of 15. What pumps you up? What makes you want to accomplish that much? What makes you want to get going in the morning? I mean, what is it that really gets you excited and committed to accomplish so much in what you've done?
I think honestly, it's the people around me. They push me to be my best, no matter what the circumstances are, no matter how hard it gets. They are always there for me and always have my best interest in mind. And that really is what helps me get through the school year or sports or anything like that. They're very good people.
What's it been like starting a brand new school in the middle of COVID?
It has been quite different. There are tons of different restrictions that were never there before. And our school is doing a hybrid model. So half the school goes on Mondays and Wednesdays and the other half on Tuesdays and Thursdays, which means that I haven't even met half of my class yet. And so half of them, yeah. So it's difficult, but we get through it, and there's definitely bright sides to everything. So as it is, I get smaller classes, which means more time with the teachers, and I get to form closer relationships with these people, and then hopefully I'll get to form closer ones with the other people.
I'm so proud of you. What was when COVID hit back in March? You were still in grade school. What was your reaction to COVID? What did you think about the whole thing? What was your perspective on COVID?
At first, I was honestly really excited because I got 2 weeks off of school. It was just like the flu, they said, so everything should go back to normal fairly quickly. But within the first week, that kind of changed, and it became more just depressive, and this is not fun at all. And that also came with so much more time with my family, which was not great, but we got through it. And yeah, so
how did COVID affect your relationships with your friends and your relatives, and how did it affect your relationships?
it was definitely a lot harder to stay in touch with everybody. But luckily for all this technology that we have, we would be able to Skype or to Zoom with my grandparents rather than just talk on the phone. Or with my friends, we would have Netflix watch parties where we could all watch a movie together and it would feel like the real thing. Or just texting or calling people. That is what really kept everything intact. And if we didn't have that, there would have been a lot of lost relationships from this.
You betcha. And that's a good lesson for not just teenagers, which I think maybe had an inclination or a proclivity to go ahead and Zoom anyway. It wasn't going to be that tough, no big deal. But also to kind of keep it going, to nurture relationships, which COVID has really taught us different ways of nurturing relationships. But you got to do that, both professionally and personally. So yeah, that's so true. That's very, very true. Um, so COVID affected your social life. COVID's affected your school life. You still don't know half your class, but you're trudging through it, right?
Hmm.
This,
Yeah,
what do you attribute your ability to change, to pivot, maybe to be so resilient? You know, when I speak to big companies and corporations right now, the number one topic that clients want is resiliency. It's resiliency. And resiliency doesn't come easy. It's the ability to change, to reinvent yourself sometimes, to be resilient and say, yes, this is really tough. This is hard, but I'm resilient. I'm going to make the best of it. And I'm going to move on. What is it about you that you think, or what qualities does it take, or what habits does it take to be so resilient?
I think that for me, change is so important because for the past 9 years, I've been going to the same small grade school, which I was with the same people, the same teachers, the same building, same students. And doing such a routine in quarantine even amplified that because just wake up in the morning, do nothing, go to bed, just over and over again. That really makes you want change. And being on my last year of the grade school, being in eighth grade, it so made me so much more excited for high school because I needed a change, and covid COVID definitely brought a change. But so that was really, that was a bright side.
That's a great way of looking at it. I love that. This podcast is going to serve you as kind of a little time capsule that you'll be able to look back on and say, wow, in December, in fact, you are, Carly, our last podcast for 2020. And I wanted to end the year with you because you have such a wonderful, positive, fun, exciting outlook on the future. And I think that can be a testimonial, and that can be something that other people, no matter how old they are, can learn from. I love that. So as you're moving into 2021, what are some of your goals? What are some of your aspirations? What are you thinking about right now?
Right now, it's just to get through get through the pandemic and also just get through school, because it has definitely been a lot more challenging not being able to be in the classroom and the studying, and you kind of lose motivation when you're at home because you have all these distractions in front of you. You can just have your phone under the computer, and it's difficult. And I think my main goal is just to finish out the school year with good grades, and then from there, then you make new goals once you've accomplished those. So I like to set small goals that are easy to accomplish and then just keep doing that.
You have hit it, and we didn't practice this, but you've just hit momentum on the head. The secret to momentum is a series of successful endings. So when you just said, I make smaller goals, and then I try to accomplish those goals, and I accomplish them, and then I move on, and I accomplish some more. That's the secret to momentum. Momentum is it's not like, oh, you hit it hard right off the bat and you keep going and you're successful and that's great. No, momentum is kind of like a roller coaster. Okay. Have you ever rode the Texas Titan, Carly? The roller coaster. I mean, it starts off like right here and then it starts building. It starts building. That momentum just kind of starts building. And you know how you feel when you're getting those butterflies in your stomach and you're going up the roller coaster, and this is supposed to be the highest roller coaster in the world, supposedly, and it keeps going, okay, and the butterflies keep growing, all right, and you're starting to build the momentum. Compare that to a project, or compare that to like passing a really hard test or working towards your finals, and you're starting to build that up. You're getting those butterflies, right? And you're halfway up that first rung of the real roller coaster, and it's getting worse and it's getting worse, or it's getting better and better, how you look at it. And you keep thinking, and it gets up to the very, very top, and then bam, down it goes, right? But then it comes built back up. And it builds up, builds up, builds up. And then bam, it goes back down again. Momentum is a series of successful endings. And when you can build up those elements of momentum in your life, that's truly success. And I love that, because you said you have things that you want to accomplish, a plan, you do them, and then they grow and they get bigger and they get bigger and they get bigger. That's a great life lesson that you've already figured out, kiddo.
Thank you.
It's pretty darn good. What other kind of life lessons have you had? Have you ever had any challenges? Have you ever had any times where it was a little tough?
Yes, definitely. A couple years back, I had like a medical issue that I would be in a lot of pain a lot of the times. And I was never one to let people see how much pain. I didn't want to burden them with that. So I would always just silently suffer, and I would still play the game. I would still go to school. I would still participate. But a lot of people could clearly see through that. And it really did make me realize how much the people around me care, that they don't care if we win the game. They want me to be safe. They want me to feel good. And that was really inspiring and honestly motivating, because I want to do better for these people who care so much about me.
I love that. Are you a people person, Carly?
Yes, 100%. I really like being alone, but it's so much better to be with people. I mean, I feed off of them, their energy. And it's when you meet a really good person who's just so full of life, it's amazing. There's no better feeling.
One of the things I've noticed about in being with you and working with you is your sense of gratefulness. You're grateful for the people in your life. You are also incredibly observant. I would bet that if there was ever a little test you took on your emotional intelligence, you'd rate it very, very high, because I think you truly care about people. I think people are going to look up to you in the future and what you want to do and how you do it. You're truly a leader. You are truly a leader in the making. Yeah.
Thank you.
I know you're only 15, and this is probably a question that a whole lot of people ask you, and you probably would say, I have no idea right now, but what are your plans for the future? What what kind of occupations or fields or callings are kind of calling to you right now? What's your future look like?
Well, I'm not exactly sure. I do know though that I do not want just a 9 to 5 desk job, just counting numbers and just sitting there all day. That sounds incredibly awful to me. I want something with high action and where you're on your feet all the time. And I had recently just learned about my grandmother on my mom's side and how she was a nurse in the ER, and she helped set up this program where she would take in sexual assault victims and she would care for them, and she would take pictures and gather evidence and send it to the courts to hopefully get whoever did this to them prosecuted. And that would really be something that I would want to do, because I really want to help people. I want to make a difference. And I have a lot of interest in the medical field. And she is such an inspiring woman. And I think that could be actually a really cool career.
That's inspiring. I think that's wonderful. And you learn from the people around you, and you hear their stories, and you take them to heart, and you say, how does that fit with me? What can I learn from the past? What can I learn from other people's successes and apply them to my future and learn from, people are all different. There's going to be good things. There's going to be bad things. If you say, yeah, that's something about that person that I maybe don't want to emulate, but there's something else that's really cool about this other person that I do want to emulate and learn from, I think that's awesome. Do you consider yourself a future leader?
I hope so. I'd like to think that. I have a good enough personality that people want to follow me, and they feel like I'm a good person to lead them. And I hope that I am.
There are some, I was prior to you being on the show, I was kind of Googling, which is what I love to do. I love to learn. I love to find out different things. There are some traits for teens that are looking into future leadership programs and how they use momentum to do that. And let me read some of the traits to you really quickly, because I think you have many of these inside of Carly Oniskey. Okay. Mm-hmm. So different types of programs, different types of retreats and techniques that teens are looking at now to develop their momentum in leadership in the future are enhancing communication skills, having good people skills, which you do have, empowering new discoveries, which is what we're talking about, having different conversations with different people of choice. I mean, people that you wouldn't normally speak with, or different walks of life, have those conversations with them, learn from them, taking on responsibility, and then developing, when you're working with people, an element of trust and collaboration, and developing that authenticity, which you embellish, you enhance so much. I mean, you are incredibly transparent, and all those different type of things to build integrity. They build teamwork. And when you've got that, those are all leadership skills. So my young friend, it's going to be phenomenal to watch you grow in the future. Is there a message at all that you want to leave our audience with?
I think just right now, especially, just be kind to everybody. And I think, especially now, that's incredibly important. Just treat everyone with kindness.
I couldn't agree with you more. Kindness is what's needed now. Understanding, kindness, patience, and then that resiliency, right? That all-powerful resiliency that makes us continue and move on, just like that roller coaster, or move on just like Carly Oniskey, to attain momentum in life. Carly, you've been an exceptional guest on Morning Momentum with Coffee podcast today. Have you enjoyed it? Have you had a good time?
Yes, it has been such an honor to be here. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity.
And you have a phenomenal message. I'm so proud of you and what you've accomplished. I think anybody would be. And for all my guests out there, this is a special show. This show with Carly Oniskey is being dedicated to her grandfather, Bruce Hatter, who passed away. It'll be 3 years in coming March. And Carly used to call him Pops. And he was, Carly, he was incredibly proud of you. And he would be so proud of you today on this podcast. So nice job, Miss Oniskey. Nice job.
Thank you.
You got it. And for everyone, remember, when you've got the right mindset and you've got momentum in life, you can accomplish anything. It doesn't even matter how old you are. So Carly, you've been an exceptional guest. It's been an honor to have you on the show. Everybody, please go on out there, like the podcast, share the podcast, subscribe, get ready for 2021 because 2021 is going to be an exemplary year. We're going to achieve wonderful things and we're going to do it with momentum. Carly, thank you. Have a wonderful holiday season.
You too. Thank you.
Okay. Bye, everyone. Have a great holiday and I'll see you next year. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to Morning Momentum with Coffee. Momentum matters more than strength. Your persistence will always win. Drive change, ignite cultures, and accelerate growth with your own personal momentum. To find out more about Betti, follow her on Facebook at Betti Coffee Presents for more inspiring stories just like this one. If you liked what you heard, leave us a rating and review. And if you want to hear more, subscribe to Morning Momentum with Coffee on your favorite podcasting platform. And remember, the greater the momentum, the harder it is to stop. Momentum creates motivation. Motivation creates opportunity. And opportunity creates results. See you next time.